министри, ваши превъзходителства, уважаеми гости, дами и господа. Днес старата агенция Frontex става европейска агенция.
From an operational perspective. As Executive Director of the agency, I feel honored to be here in Bulgaria at the land border to Turkey with European political decision makers and representatives of our Turkish neighbors and partners to inaugurate the new mandate of the agency. I thank warmly Commissioner Avramopoulos for his political backing. I thank the EU Council and the Member States for the fast negotiations that were successfully concluded, and I thank them for their readiness to cooperate with the agency for the swift implementation of the new mandate. Let me also thank the EU Parliament for the support it gave as EU co-legislator in order to create the European Border and Coast Guard Agency. However, I feel a little bit homesick this morning. My staff, right now, is gathered in the agency's headquarters in Warsaw, together with my deputy, and they are watching this press conference. So I want to thank them for the extraordinary work achieved under the old Frontex, and I can assure you that my staff is fully committed to our new responsibilities as European Border and Coast Guard Agency. You may ask me, what is new? As Executive Director of the agency, my reply is straightforward. Now, we have an EU agency that can effectively make not only a quantitative, but also a qualitative difference in the management of the EU external borders. Regarding the overall operational and monitoring governance of the EU external borders, I would like to highlight following new roles of the agency: integrated border management and security, vulnerability assessment, rapid pooled resources. The new name of the agency, referring to Border and Coast Guard, is not only the recognition of the actual and decisive role played by huge maritime joint operations deployed by Frontex in Italy and Greece. The name Coast Guard and the mandate and missions associated with this name will beef up possibilities of better articulated operational synergies between the EU maritime security strategy and the EU internal security strategy. We see now maritime customs activities, maritime law enforcement and maritime policing agencies at national level willing to work closer with our agency in the field. The maritime activities offer a leverage to further develop existing cooperation between Frontex and other EU agencies at sea. But also, the operational integrated border management strategy that the agency is expected to deliver soon provides also the perfect frame to intensify and widen existing cooperation between the old Frontex and Europol, between the old Frontex and other police and investigation organizations. The European Border and Coast Guard Agency will make full use of its new mandate to contribute to the fight against criminal activities or security threats at the external borders. More personal data will be gradually collected in the context of the joint operations deployed by our agency, and these personal data will be shared with other EU agencies and national authorities in full compliance with EU data protection rules, in order to effectively contribute to investigations carried out by security and justice actors, and in order to feed with relevant intelligence the national and European actors in charge of the internal security. The vulnerability assessment, which is one of the most prominent new missions of the agency, is one more aspect of a full-fledged integrated border management. The European Border and Coast Guard Agency will establish soon a methodology and objective criteria to assess whether specific sections of the EU external borders or vulnerability require actions. Based on operational assessment, the Executive Director of the agency has now the possibility to identify measures that member states should put in place in order to mitigate potential weak points. What is at stake is the systemic effect of vulnerabilities on the EU and the Schengen area in case of migration or security crisis occurring at our external borders. And there, the agency will also be able to come with operational solutions, supporting the most exposed member states or the most exposed sections of our common land, sea, or air borders. Rapid reaction operations may sometimes be the immediate way to anticipate crisis. The new pooled resources, 1,500 people that can be deployed without delay, is the lessons learned from the situation we faced last year when the old Frontex was missing hundreds of border guards to face the crisis in Greece. The agency will also make full use of its new mandate to acquire its own technical means in case member states cannot always provide them, such as air surveillance services or leased patrolling vessels. Now, with the European border guards, we are equipped to manage security issues and to manage irregular migration. I could mention here the extended mandate to support member states in the implementation of their national decisions to return irregular migrants to third countries or to countries of origin and countries of transit. Return is a key for an effective and credible management of irregular migration, and the agency is fully committed to this EU policy that shall always be implemented in full compliance with EU fundamental rights. To give you the full operational picture, I also would like to highlight the new mandate to further develop cooperation or operational activities with non-EU countries. Here, I would like to thank Turkish authorities for the way the old Frontex was able to smoothly and effectively deploy its first liaison officer out of the EU in Ankara under the umbrella of the EU delegation. Time is limited, and let me conclude. I hope I convinced those who are worried about the possibility to have an effective and operational European Border and Coast Guard Agency. But I also would like to assure those who worry about democratic control that the agency is fully committed to the principle of accountability. First of all, accountability towards the management board of the agency, where member states and the European Commission are represented. Moreover, the new complaint mechanism is now open to migrants who have reasons to claim that their fundamental rights have been affected during the agency's joint operation. And because more powers, more financial and more operational means are granted to the agency, it's normal to feel accountable to political decision makers. I'm glad to be invited on the 12th of October to the European Parliament for a hearing in the Libe Committee, and I'm looking forward to give feedback to the Home Affairs Council on the 13th of October, where I was invited by the Slovak presidency. Thank you very much for your attention.
Благодаря на господин Легери и се присъединявам към пожеланията за успех на агенцията, в която никой не се съмнява. Сега давам дума.
Success for the agency. And I would like to pass the floor to the Slovak representation in the Council of Деница Сакова.
Уважаеми премиер, вице-премиер, уважаеми комисар, госпожи и господа